Hey guys, and welcome to zlatanobojmtg's M14 key card review. Unfortunately, I've not had a lot of time to create new content as of late, so I do apologise. However, today I'll be bringing you the top 5 cards in each colour of M14, looking in depth at the cards that in my opinion could make a huge splash in the world of Magic. It was my initial plan to create a full set review, but unfortunately due to time constraints and the busyness of day-to-day life, I missed out on the deadline of a full set review before the pre-release, which was my initial intention. However, fingers crossed I can bring you guys one of our full set reviews for the Theros block. In other news before we start, thanks to everyone for over 150 subscribers. It means a lot that you guys and gals out there in the world of Magic tune in to check us out and our content right here on YouTube, so thank you and make sure to keep watching. We will also be uploading some Jewels of the Planeswalkers 2014 gameplay for you guys so that you can check out the campaign, sealed play and online multiplayer goodness that the game has to offer. So that's all the news we have. Let's get to the top 5 cards of each colour of our latest Magic core set. Enjoy! We kick off of course in white, and number 5 in my top 5 white cards is Ajani's Chosen, a card which I fell in love with as soon as it was spoiled a few months back. This card is surely an omen of things to come in Theros, which is rumoured to be an enchantment based block, and could be a card that will be quiet until then. Quiet or not, for 4 mana, 2 colourless and 2 white, you are getting a monster of a creature. For a start, a 3/3 is not an irrelevant body, as it dodges M14's premium burn spell Shock, and can also trade punches with some of Standard's heavy hitters such as Thragtusk. Sure, a 3/3 body is not going to be the most threatening of creatures when it hits the board, but it is Ajani's Chosen's enchantment based ability that makes it, at least in my opinion, standard worthy. Maybe not at tier 1, at least not yet, but with cards such as Unflinching Courage, Ethereal Armour, Rancor and a whole host of other enchantments including Spectral Flight, I think this card could make a place for itself in Bant Auras. And after rotation, with the influx of a rumoured enchantment based block in Theros, Ajani's Chosen will only get stronger. In Limited, this card is fantastic. Hill Giants are always playable in Limited to begin with, and with the minor enchantment theme in the set, I wouldn't be surprised if you guys could easily pick up a free token or 2 from this. It isn't a high pick in draft, but has a good range, and so should be up there in your first 5 draft picks if it gets passed to you and you are in white. At number 4 we have Banisher Priest, aka Fiend Hunter 2.0. It's got slightly more aggressive stats and also is without the crazy loophole that allowed for permanent removal. No longer does removing Banisher Priest in response exile the target permanently, which is definitely for the best. The whole permanent removal aspect of Fiend Hunter always made you feel like you were abusing the rules, especially against newer players, and is perhaps one of those spiky moments that could put newer players off the game. So with Banisher Priest, that goes, for good reasons, and to boot we get a more aggressive 2/2 body. Of course, without that removal loophole that Fiend Hunter had with Angel of Glory's Rise, it is a slightly less powerful card, but it is still one of the most powerful removal pieces White has access to in this environment, and will still be played in Junk Reanimator. In Limited, any removal is good removal, and Banisher Priest is not just white removal, it is a decent creature to boot. In that regard, it is a very high pick, and for the investment of just 3 mana, pack as many of these into your sealed and draft decks as you can. They will never go to waste. At number 3 we have Imposing Sovereign. This card is the business. Seriously, if there was one card out of my top 5 white cards that I knew would be making an impact in a lot of standard builds, it would be this one. In standard, Imposing Sovereign imposes itself versus aggro builds such as Jund and Ban Hexproof, and will be sideboarded in most decks that use white to combat other creature heavy builds that you come up against. For these reasons, and also that this creature slots impeccably into a Naya Blitz build, Imposing Sovereign, this little 2 mana creature, is nearly the best card in standard. A quote nonetheless from pro player and all-round good guy Brad Nelson. In Limited, there isn't any better card to be playing at turn 2 in your draft or sealed decks if you're in white. It's as simple as that. Curve into this and you will disrupt an opposing board state whilst keeping your own intact, allowing for a swift win and more time to prepare for your next match. Of course, it's not great late game, and when your opponent has a board state it isn't that fantastic, and also in control it's not brilliant, but overall this card is nuts in 40 card decks if you can curve into it early. At number 2 we have Archangel of Thune, a mythic rare creature with all the trimmings. I spoke about this card at length in our spoiler video, and so I'll keep this as short as humanly possible, but this card, oh man, this card. Archangel of Thune is going to be the new Baneslayer or Hero of Bladehold, 2 cards that made even me, an anti-white mage, want to play white. This card is a huge threat on its own, and with a cool Anthem effect to boot, it will see standard play for sure. I just can't wait to open one in a booster just to say that I have one, as I love both what this card does and its super sweet artwork. Limited, there's no better, just pick it. That is all, you will win. It's an absolute bomb in white, first pick in draft, and if you see it in sealed, you're in white. You're in white, okay? You don't have a choice, you're in white, okay? Now if Archangel of Thune was at number 2, what's going to be number 1? Number 1 is Fiendslayer Paladin. Wow. Just incredible card. Part of a cycle of colour hosing rares, and in my opinion joint best alongside the black one, which we will talk about in my black card top 5. This thing is an absolute powerhouse and will be seen on standard tables worldwide in a whole host of decks including Selesnya builds and Bant. This guy combos well with just about anything. Sublime Archangel, Rancor and Wolfir Silverheart, just some of the cards I expect Fiendslayer to be paired with in decks. It is hard to deal with on its own. It dodges most removal with protection from both red and black, with Azorius Charm probably the only way to reliably deal with him. However, combining the card with any pump effect makes the game nearly impossible for most opponents. A huge Bonfire of the Damned or Mizian Mortars in Overload can deal with the Paladin, but even those removal spells fall short when Wolfir Silverheart or any other type of big pump spell gets linked up. This guy's fantastic. In Limited, do I even have to say it? Just listen to what I've already mentioned above. Dodges removal, gains life, first strike, decent body, and he looks like a freaking Jedi. First pick for sure, and if you open one in sealed, you are in white. It is fate. So that's it for my top 5 cards in white for M14, folks. It's been fun, and even though white isn't my favourite colour, even I can see the value of these top 5 cards in the future of Magic. As usual, before I go, remember that these are my opinions alone and should be taken with a pinch of salt. These may not be the best 5 cards when M14 becomes standard legal, but I think each one of these white cards is interesting and has a possibility of becoming a breakout star in Magic. Apologies again for the lack of a full spoiler review. I will try and do my best to do that around Theros. I've had a lot of problems trying to get videos up for you guys because of internet and also the busyness of day-to-day life. Anyway, thanks again for watching, folks, and we'll be back next episode with my top 5 blue cards in M14.